So, mrrepzion makes another stupid video, and everyone's gonna act like he's a fucking Mensa member, even though he just regurgitates what has been said a bajillion times before. I'm not upset about mrrepzion's opinion of this subject matter. I just cannot believe that people hang on his every word, and everything that comes out of his mouth is something you would expect to see on a partisan line bumper sticker. For example, when he's talking about the abortion subject, he goes into how just because abortion might be illegal doesn't mean it'll stop. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Murder doesn't stop and it's illegal. Stealing doesn't stop and it's illegal. Cockfighting doesn't stop and it's illegal. Pretty much anything that is illegal isn't necessarily going to stop. The only reason you make it illegal is because it is morally reprehensible, and you figure, well, as long as it's illegal, then at least you can punish people for doing that morally reprehensible thing. So, the issue becomes, is it acceptable to make abortion into morally reprehensible behavior that can be punished under the law, or should we use more subtle methods to discourage abortion through education, through, things that would help women have better jobs and better lives so they wouldn't need to get abortions, blah, blah, blah. That's the issue it becomes. Not so much whether or not somehow magically making something illegal is going to get rid of it. In fact, I'm probably the only guy that will come out and say that killing should be legal. At one point, it was. It was called dueling. If you knew anything about dueling, the way it worked was the person that initiated the duel did not actually get to determine how the duel was maintained. The person that is defending themselves, the person that was challenged to the duel, got to lay the ground lines to how the duel commenced. And they both came to an agreement. If the initiator did not like the way the duel worked, the duel was canceled. But essentially, let's say I challenged mrrepzion to a duel. mrrepzion would then be able to lay down the groundwork of how the duel would take place, where it would, what we would use, etc. And then, if I agreed to it, we would have the duel. If I disagreed with it, the duel would be canceled until I was willing to accept what he deemed appropriate for this duel to the death. And in fact, most duels did not even result in death. Most duels would just border on assault. The first person to be mortally wounded won the duel. But, of course, that's not movie cinematic material, so that's why most people don't know that about duels. But in actuality, many people resolved their social and economic problems through dueling until the 19th century. So, why isn't dueling still legal? Have we somehow evolved suddenly into it's too morally ambiguous to be able to solve our problems through violence? No, by no means. What I think it is we've evolved into the individual does not have the right to solve his problems through violence. But when we send ground troops into Afghanistan to kill innocent brown people in droves, oh, that's fine. When mrrepzion sends his cult to attack an innocent woman like Prometheus, that's fine too. But when an individual has had his fill of someone and wants to initiate a one-on-one battle for his honor, for his financial gain, for whatever, no, we can't have that. That's the kind of moral issues we need to be talking about. It has nothing to fucking do with whether or not abortion being illegal would somehow make them back alley abortions where the streets will run red with blood. I don't fucking care if it did. But it's not gonna happen. That's not realistic. Look at the drug war. Are people dying in the streets because of the drug war? No. But people are wrongly being jailed because of the drug war. And a bunch of smutty people in the drug cartel are making lots and lots of money because of the drug war. And more importantly, all the corruption and lies that surround the drug war. I'm not even mad that some sleazeball is a drug dealer making billions of dollars because of his cocaine fields. I'm mad that the police department is in on it and just conspires to arrest normal people that happen to want to do a little cocaine and then turn around and punish the lower level drug dealers while the high up ones still get to continue with their drug cartel. The police pocket some of that money, they get free labor from the prisoners, and then they turn around and work with the heavier drug dealers in order to continue this cycle where they get free labor, free money, free recognition, and continue to just perpetuate all of this evil. And that's the problem with the drug war. And undoubtedly, if abortion were illegal, that would become the issue with an abortion war. But the point here isn't whether or not that somehow excuses abortion just because it'll keep continuing to happen because it's illegal. No! You argue the moral spectrum. You argue whether or not it is so bad it deserves to be illegal versus it's bad, but it's not quite that bad. It wouldn't be bad if it was properly used, and thus that's why we have regulations, we have certain ethics that we abide by in a lawful society. The same way that not all medication is illegal, painkillers aren't illegal. They could afford to be a little more regulated, but they're not illegal. You can get Xanax, you can get Zoloft, you can get whatever the fuck you need, and you can get it at a relatively nominal price, and you should be able to. And the only issue now is whether or not they should have more severe regulations, because, quite frankly, getting pills is about as easy as getting bottled water. And there might be a minority of people that think that painkillers should be outright banned. Morphine should be banned. All these hard substances that are used in the medical field should be banned. I don't agree with that. I'm pretty sure none of my viewers would agree with that. But we are discussing the morality of it, and whether or not it would be more efficient to just outright ban it, to subside it, to reduce the abuses, or if regulation would work. That's all we do as a species. We regulate one another. We regulate behavior to try to tilt it in a certain direction. And banning something is just a means to an end of that. It's more violent, it's more coercive, it's more brutal, but it is a means unto an end. And that's why I am so opposed to censorship, because I know what it's for. I know what the underlying principle behind it is for. I know why they do it, and I know what their intention is by doing it. And that's why it disgusts me so much. That's why banning individuals, banning people, is so wrong. Not so much banning actions, not so much banning substances. I don't agree with it, but there is a difference. And what gets me is guys like mrrepzion have no qualms about banning people, but suddenly when they want to ban an action or ban a substance, he can't handle that, and then he'll just puke out all the regurgitated bullshit of the Democratic or Republican parties, and that is making our population dumber. That is making our population retarded. They deserve better. They deserve a more educated opinion. They deserve a more passionate opinion. They deserve information from a source that actually cares, that actually thinks about these issues, and doesn't just revert back to the primitive bumper sticker slogans. And, you know, I'm not going to come out here and say that abortion should be completely illegal. I'm not going to come out here and say it should be banned. I'm not even going to come out here and say that it's a good thing. I am just telling you the truth about how this whole system works. It isn't about one issue or another. It's about humanity. It's about humanity and the principles it uses to go forward or backward. And you know what? We're going backward. mrrepzion is helping us go backward. I want us to move forward. And the only way we're going to move forward is by recognizing this. We gotta recognize reactionaries like mrrepzion that are hurting us. They are hurting us as a species because they refuse to have this discourse and they refuse to think about these issues. Instead of worrying about whether or not there might be a fight against abortion and within the next 5 years abortion might be illegal, and let me tell you something, it'll probably only be illegal in like Mississippi and Tennessee and Texas. It's not going to be illegal all over the United States. That's not going to happen. At the very least, it'll be legal in California. California sure does love their liberalism. But even if the United States somehow magically with fairy dust makes abortion illegal everywhere, is that really the issue here? Is the issue here whether or not women can have an abortion, or whether or not what role abortion plays in the verge of humanity? What role does abortion play in humanity's evolution as a social structure, as a superorganism? Does it say something about our society that women feel the need to have an abortion, to have that option available? You know, if let's say they ban, I don't know, milk tomorrow, how many people would really be upset? I think by the sheer principle of the matter, they should be upset. We have a right to drink milk, but I myself could probably go without milk. I'm not particularly fond of dairy products. So while I would be ethically opposed to it, it would not really strike a chord in me. Not in the way the abortion issue does in many women, because they have made it into this personal issue of theirs. They have made it into where abortion is integral to the female identity, and that if you try to attack the abortion issue, you're attacking women. That's what they've turned it into. They've turned it into a vanguard because they know that works. They know now whenever a woman hears the word abortion, what they're actually hearing is women. So when you're opposed to abortion, you're automatically opposed to women. And it's all just verbose ruse. It's all just conditioning. It's just semantics. It's oratory. It's sorcery. That's what it comes down to. Just Jedi mind tricks, pulling your strings, getting you all worked up over nothing. The fact is, most of you probably would not have abortions, even if you thought you might need one. A lot of you will always say, I'm personally pro-life, but not politically, or whatever. And that might be true. Maybe you truly believe that, where you yourself would never ever have an abortion, but you do not want to restrict that right. So then why are you so vehemently offended by the idea of something threatening it? If it does not threaten your own personal morality, why are you worried about other people's morality? And, you know, everyone loves to use that on the other side, where everyone has the right to have their own morality. But it's not affecting your morality. If anything, it would be benefiting it. So if you're morally opposed to something personally, why not be morally opposed to it politically? Because you haven't taken the time to invest in that thought process. You have not taken the time to detail how you feel about this issue, because it's threatening. Ooh, that's scary. For a minute there, you almost sound like a conservative. Oh. But no, it isn't about that shit. It's about what's good for humanity. Is abortion good for humanity? Are taxation good for humanity? Is regulation good for humanity? Is government good for humanity? Is capitalism good for humanity? I would have different answers to different questions of those. But that's what it comes down to. Is this working for humanity's best interest? That is the main underlying principle of whatever your political position. And nobody is talking about that because they're too scared of sounding like a political pundit. But guess what? By not asking those questions and by not giving legitimate answers, you've already become a political pundit. mrrepzion is more of a political pundit than I could ever be. His ass belongs on fucking Fox News, just spouting bullshit. He can stand right alongside Bill O'Reilly and just bump heads with him, and just they can suck each other's conservative cocks all day long, and all their sheep viewers can just have their eyes plastered to the screens and just listen to their ignorance all day long. And it makes me sick. It makes me sick how we're not talking about these issues like people. We're talking about them like we're programming. We're talking about them like we're a script on a computer screen. We're not able to deviate from this idea that if we say the wrong things, we're on the wrong side, rather than detailing the semantics of whether or not this is the right course of action given what we know available to us. Given our resources, is this the right course of action? And it's not as simple as to say that that's a left or right issue, or that's a good or bad issue. That's why, even though I say most of the self-proclaimed communists throughout history were not communists. Stalin was not a communist. Trotsky was not a communist. I don't know a whole lot about Chairman Mao, but I'm leaning toward he wasn't a communist. But they were good people. They did what was good for humanity, given the options available to them, given their resources. They did the best they could, and that's why I'm okay with calling them communists, even though technically I don't think they were. So, that's what this is about. This is about whether or not we are acting as best as we possibly can, given what is available to us. Given what is available to us, is abortion acting the best we can? Would banning it be the best we can do? Or would better regulating it be the best we could do? Or deregulating it be the best we could do? But not to just say that, if you oppose abortion, you hate women, or that you're pro-choice, pro-life, it's all bullshit. All of it is bullshit. And mrrepzion is pushing for more bullshit. He's bringing wheelbarrows of that bullshit into your life. And haven't you had enough? So, I guess that's it.